much, Councillor Doyle. We appreciate your attendance. And as everybody in the room knows, the Council has and continues to be a very strong supporter of arts and culture in our city. A city that I'm very proud of. My 3 generations of my family have lived in Townsville, and I'm very keen to continue to see it grow and develop as my children grow and develop. Everyone in this room knows why creativity is important. As we can see, the world's population has doubled in the last 30 years. We have some immense challenges, not just in terms of creative practice, but globally. And to resolve these, we need creative leaders and creativity. And as Councillor Doyle and both Trevor have mentioned, yesterday saw the release of the federal government's new cultural policy called Creative Australia. Feel free to Google it. It's a lengthy document, but a very interesting one, and it does bring some new exciting things for creativity, and also in regional areas. One of the more complicated things when we talk about the term creative industries is, what is it? Now, a nice simple way that I explain to our students about what it is to think of 2 concepts: the traditional creative arts and what we know as cultural industries, or large-scale, often media-driven sectors like film, television, radio. You bring those 2 together and we have creative industry. Another way to visualise it, and I apologise for those in the back, the screen is quite small. At the core is creative artists. Then we move out into wider cultural industries and then into related sectors such as design and fashion and architecture, all within this sector. So it's broad, but it's also very inclusive, and it rests on creativity. So who are the participants? Who are the players in this sector? Well, you've obviously got the creative specialists, your artists, your designers, your photographers. Then we've got the support workers, managers, administrators, those people providing support, and also specialists embedded in other areas. So a photographer working for a major multinational company, for example, the Holden Corporation, has numerous designers, photographers, and web designers. It's a big sector. $31 billion contribution, that was 6 years ago now. It's bigger than forestry, bigger than fishing. It's one of our bigger sectors. We've heard about the growth. It is growing faster than all other areas of the economy. So these are statistics, but it's driven by individuals and lots of small business. And we're going to hear from some small business owners on today's panel. This statistic came out of the recent report card from the QUC Centre of Creative Industries. For the last 5 years, based on census data, 2.8% growth. The national economy is broadly grown at about 2%. We've also started investigating what's known as the creative class. An international expert on this concept, Richard Florida, he talks about creative core, which is your artists, your media professionals, those in computing and IT and maths, as well as creative professionals that use creativity in their work. So those in business, healthcare. Townsville fares fairly well. In a study commissioned by Townsville Enterprise a couple of years ago, I was part of a team along with Ricardo Welters and others that looked at our creative class. And while the figures are hard to see, I apologise again, Townsville fares quite well, with good growth between 2001 and 6, and we are slightly ahead of Cairns, Geelong and Wollongong. How do we grow it? Well, Florida talks about 3 things. To bring creatives to a city, one has to determine or provide, we have to know what's there. Built a natural environment. Who's there? The people. Tolerance is a big issue. And what's going on? What's there, who's there, and what's going on? They're the 3 things that Florida says if we focus on those, we will attract more and more people. this concept of creative industries. And I've also been talking to people in the Townsville region. Nearly 100 people completed the survey, and that was followed up with 23 interviews. The main findings, it's diverse. There are individual artists through to medium-sized enterprise in such areas as design, and everything in between. We've got business people working with some elements of creativity in their practice, but really mixed. There's not a lot of understanding or engagement with public policy, so Australia Council strategic plans or Arts Queensland, or even our local council. Artists don't seem to do a lot of investigation of policy support and things that are available to them in that region. The career paths, as Trevor mentioned, are very individually driven. People move around. What was really quite interesting was people presented a whole series of interesting growth opportunities. And I'll briefly refer to some of those shortly. And there was also a discussion about leadership. Who should lead this sector? The most frequently referenced partnership or potential for further growth was partnering with education and training. Grassroots, skill development, right through from pre-primary up to tertiary and beyond. Tourism. Very strong references to the need or the potential for the creative sector to partner more strongly with the tourism sector. Attracting visitors to Townsville for events, for galleries, exhibitions, for creativity. The ICT area, as we know, broadband's coming in. The potential there is significant. And how we make that happen is very much up for grabs. Retail, boutique stores, creatives getting their works displayed in more retail areas. And linking with accommodation and food services, working with the hotel sector, working with the food sector. So lots and lots of ideas coming through under those broad points. In the interviews I asked, what are the creative strengths of this region? And we've all seen word clouds. This one reflects the main themes that came through. So you can see there the diversity of our community. The environment. People love the environment of Townsville. Natural environment. Access to ocean, rainforest. Creativity and community came up. There's a strong sense of community amongst the arts community. And talent came up quite a bit too, which is great. Then I said, well, what's actually holding us back as a sector? What are our key problems? The cultural cringe came up a lot. People don't understand what we do. Or if you're from this region, metropolitan artists think we're not as good as them. The real cringe factor. You're regional, so that's where you belong. Funding and distance. So there, I think, some of the things that we can look at in more depth. How do we capitalise on our location rather than see it as a negative? And finally, from my perspective, based on what I've learned from people in our sector and their views, is what partnerships can we continue to look at developing? Not only within creative industries, but with others. Space is an issue. How might we use empty space as well as existing popular areas? Who should take ownership here? Obviously, government plays a significant role already, but then what about the participants in the creative industry? Who are our leaders? Who should we talk to? And representation. How do we represent our sector and the people within that sector as strongly as we possibly can? I'm very pleased to acknowledge and thank the Council who have recently provided both myself and Dr. Ricardo Welters with a RADIF grant to scope the economic impact of our creative industry. And we've started that recently, along with our research assistant Jonathan, and we hope to